everybody's asking me for updates. And like, no. He's got up. He's doing well. He's got to the, he's made it to the cutoff. He's now running. Wow, he's running fast. And when he finished, crossed the line, the entire mech support team was there, like cheering for him, like his personal cheer squad.
Yeah.
So many stories of people, and well, sport is about and grit, especially endurance sports, just about grit, right? It's felt so good to be able to give back to a bunch of people and a community that's given me so much. And I think that is the true spirit of TFN, that I've met such people. Don said, I won't let you give up. And you know me and climbing.
Right.
He took every piece of weight off the bike. He said, give me your helmet. Like, helmet? Like, just take everything off. And I think for the entire 40 kilometers, he had his hand on my back and he was like pedaling along. And I'm like, I can't do this. Of course you can. One pedal stroke at a time. That memory and that every bend is imprinted in my head, right? And then Don and I have done so many fun things together over the years. But what cemented what I know is a lifelong relationship was TFN 2014.
I am Venki, a working professional in IT as well as an amateur masters athlete and a coach for endurance sports. You are listening to the Working Athlete podcast. Here, I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, I have a small request from you. Please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can also let me know what you like and what you would like to listen to more of by commenting in the comment section on YouTube. I promise to do my best to improve with each episode and bring you the best content that helps you and me get better each day. In this episode, I talk to my friend and a friend to many who come in contact with him, Anand Kapoor. Anand is not just a high-flying exec in IT. He is also a cyclist, a runner, and a triathlete. By his own admission, not a very fast one at that. But what he lacks in speed is more than made up by the amount of fun he has in doing any of those activities and the amount of joy he spreads among those who adopts as his friends. In this episode, we talk about his and my favorite tour, Tour of Nilgiris, what makes him tick and what keeps him happy and how he manages to do all that he does. It is always a joy to be around him, and this conversation is no different. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. This episode is brought to you by The Bike Affair. If you are in search of a one-stop destination that caters to all your cycling needs, our today's sponsor, The Bike Affair, is the perfect place to check out. I have known the founders of The Bike Affair, Krish and Gokul, personally for nearly 15 years now. In fact, my first century ride was with Krish back in 2008. They are both exceptional human beings and entrepreneurs that believe in providing exceptional service to their customers. And it shows. With over 14 years of experience, the Bike Affair has established itself as a trusted source offering honest advice and exceptional service. They are offering a special treat for the listeners of this podcast. You can enjoy a 10% discount on your first order by using the code BikeyVenki on their website. So if you are in Hyderabad, visit their store in Kondapur, or if you are anywhere else in India, shop online by using the link thebikeaffair.com. I will leave the link in the show notes. Now, enjoy the podcast. Anand, welcome to the Working Athlete podcast. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
I hope so, BV. Thank you so much for having me here. I will have fun like I do.
I mean, Anand and fun are synonymous. Literally and also figuratively.
Technically, it is Anand, and Anand is bliss, I thought, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
Anand. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is bliss, right? Always being in your company is bliss
Uh,
for others. So
hmm.
yeah, the first time we met was back in 2012, December
TFN
TFN
2012.
2012.
Oh,
Wow. So that was the year where there was a half TFN,
yes.
right? Weekend version of TFN.
Oh, what they called it a particular word.
TFN Entre.
Entree, yes. And just getting to TFN, people often ask, and I am such an active ambassador of TFN that people say, "Is this yours? Do you get a cut?" And I was like, I wish they could afford cuts and all, but no, it's been life changing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I can attest to
yeah.
that. 2011, my first TFN has been life changing for me. So I can imagine what you are saying about. I can relate to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go into TFN and how it changed life and everything, I want to understand um, what was your relationship with sport growing up?
So played sport actively throughout school. Um, uh, Fun fact: I didn't go to a formal institution like college, so started working right out of schools.
Yeah.
So yeah, played in school, track, field, football. Was never very good at it.
Hmm.
Naturally, I had classmates who I was just envious of, who would like naturally pick up racket sports and be good at absolutely all racket sports. But no, I enjoyed the outdoors. Parents were fairly supportive. I got to learn tennis. I played football. I represented, I think, up to my school and district level in track and field. So it was fun.
Right.
So
Hmm.
pretty active that way. Still on the bigger side even then, but yeah, active. And then also during school I was prepping for or well, wanted to join the NDA, the National Defense Academy. And so yeah, this is by and large fairly active as a person. And one of the last guys to sort of ditch cycles when everybody else in school and post school was moving to motorized transport. As you know, as you grow, you tend to. I stayed on with a bike for a very long time. So, in fact, who was I telling some the other day that the only years of my life that I didn't have two wheels was maybe 4 years in Bombay till I rediscovered TFN and got to cycling. And the first 2 3 years till you get to a tricycle, and then well, there's been no looking back.
Right.
So I've always had a bike or two wheels and been around and up to mischief and falling and getting hurt and
So, what being active in school and in commuting to school and all that is there, and then and when did you get back into cycling?
hmm. So so basically NDA didn't happen. I didn't serve. I discovered I was colorblind, and it shut off in one single swift move a whole lot of careers for me.
Right.
I was an Air Force candidate for the 100th batch, the NDA. So Air Force, Army, Navy, Naval Academy, Coast Guard, Marine Engineering, Aviation Engineering, Railways. I love trains. Railways, Merchant Navy. Everything sort of shut for me in one single swoop. And I was left bewildered as to what do I want to do. And I was already doing summer jobs, and I was working part time, um, and with that goal I had not sort of mentally prepared myself to say, hey, do I want to go the engineering path? And I didn't, and I just sort of kept working where I was. And transitioned from a bike to from a cycle to a motorbike, and then it got into commuting on motorbikes, and then sort of drifted away from cycling for a few years till I got a job that got me to the UK. And that was, I think, my second job. So pretty early, 2.5 years post school, I was in the UK, and ample of opportunities to run, to cycle. Uh, at that point in time, I'd moved from Delhi, so um, it's a city of extremes, and you don't see people running. This is 25 years ago, so you don't see people running in the middle of the day or late at night, which I happened to see and enjoy in the UK. And I started doing.
What, 98, 99?
This was 2002.
2002. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, second job. So 9/11, and then 2002. I was in the UK. So yeah, just sort of got hitched on the bandwagon, kept running, kept cycling. The Tooting Football Club was close by, so I used to see a lot of people play a sport that I had just recently left. In school, yes, I used to play soccer, football in school. So so that was also, the ground was always available for people to run, and so had basically an active lifestyle. Moved jobs, and eventually got myself in 2006, found myself in Bombay. And then for 3 or 4 years I did not have the opportunity to ride, or a trigger to ride. And I was still doing some runs, half marathon, the Bombay half marathon, and those runs. So I remember 6, 7, 8, running the Bombay half marathon. And then one fine day, a colleague said, "Hey, I'm gonna get a." We were discussing traffic, and I said the best way to move around is still two wheels. And on a whim, I was crossing a bike store, and I just went and got a helmet. Like, it was a traffic signal, and I said, "I'm getting off," and I just ran and got a helmet and came back. And everyone said, "Just a helmet," and I said, I didn't have time for a bike, and I didn't know what I wanted, so I just sort of got a helmet. Now this is step one. I know the bike would follow. And then there was this article in the Outlook about 30 things to do before you turn 30. And one of them was TFN. And I said, this is cool. This is what I want to do. This is fabulous. And I wrote to them, and they said, sorry, you're full. I said, okay.
2011?
I think that was 2011, but no, I'd started cycling. But I remember very clearly May 2010, I was cycling. And that was also funny because the same bike store that I went to get a helmet. And then a colleague said, hey, I have my bike at home and I just don't ride it. And I said, you know what, I'll take it today. And it was a Hero Hawk. with brakes up here as well, and as well as on the
My first bike as well.
and I went and got it. And then I kept going back to that bike store for upgrades on it constantly. And then I remember getting the group set upgraded and just get out and ride. And looking back at Bombay today in 2024 versus 2010, it was a beautiful place to ride. The BST buses would give you way. People would look at you at wonderment, and it was nice, and you could really ride out on either of the highways. It was not as crazy as it is now, but yeah. So, and that's how it started. I would just sort of randomly get up and go for a ride, and I'd randomly get up and go, anywhere, go meet friends, or anything, and just ride. So that's just sort of became how I was like, oh, going places, it's easier to just go and ride. And you're young, you don't really care if you show up someplace sweaty. And so
Nice.
that's
So you saw that Outlook article and wrote to them. They said,
I
full.
wrote to them, we're full.
Yeah.
And then I said, I've got to find ways to get to this. And, I started talking to people. Who knows people in Bangalore that uh, who know these guys, and I really want to do this. Meanwhile, another friend, another colleague, and very dear friend, who incidentally appeared on the Working Athlete podcast a few sessions ago, Adil.
Right.
His background is in motorsport, and he started doing BRMs, and he said, hey, our birthdays are not too far apart, so he said, for our birthdays, why don't we go to Leh Ladakh and ride from Manali to Leh
Nice.
unsupported. And, I said, do you know of an agency that's doing it? No, I know the roads. We'll just go get a car, rent a car, and get a driver to drive us behind, and we load our tents and camping supplies. And so I said, okay, fine. I didn't even have a suitable bike. All I had was my Hero Hawk. And so he said, you better ride and train and all. And I did some rides, but you know me and training. So that almost never happens. And then I borrowed my boss's bike, which is an MTB Raleigh, and we packed it, and we flew from Bombay to Leh, and then just no, Bombay to Manali. Well, Bombay to Delhi. Then I rode it around in Delhi. Then we took a bus from Delhi to Manali, and then rode out from Manali, and I had a blast.
2011 this was?
That was 2012.
12 May, June types.
Yeah, August.
Hmm.
We rode, and I had an absolute blast. Like, this was camping out in the outdoors, stopping where I wanted to, saying, hey, I can't ride anymore. Almost dying of AMS one night. And
Yeah?
yeah,
What
like,
happened?
it felt like I had AMS, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I was being silly. We got support one night. We got like after you camped a few days in the rough, you really want like a running loo. And then one night we just knocked at Nami camp, and they said, you know what, welcome to stay here. So it was fun, and then we rode up Khardungla, then we rode down Khardungla, and that was that. And this is perhaps the only time and we got to. I broke a derailleur, figured so much about bike maintenance that year, and that was probably the last year. Then I realized I can't hold a spanner straight, and I can't do my bike maintenance. It's not for me. But yeah, so just generally had a really, really, really good time.
How many days was this?
We had planned for 7,
Hmm.
but Adil, we finished in 5.
Yeah, Adil is a crazy guy.
He's cuckoo.
Yeah.
He'd like push, come on. I remember, so Tanglangla was one of the toughest climbs there, but it's like just kept going. Like, we keep going. Go, you want to walk, we'll walk. And he wasn't even wearing shoes. He had one of those floater sort of things.
Nice.
At the end of 5 days, when we got to Leh, and he said, this is a nice tan. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And with that multi-day experience, I thought it was a lot easier to apply for TFM. And they said, hey, we're full. And I said, this is August. The event happens in December. Crying out loud. They said, no, we've put you on a wait list. I said, okay, it is what it is. And then they came back and said, hey, we're doing a smaller event. Can you get yourself to Uti?
Hmm.
I said, okay. So same process. By then, I had come back and I had a MTB of my own. And well, that's an MTB that you still see around, the Cannondale Trail 6. I again did the same thing, took a bus, went from Bombay to Bangalore, stayed with a bunch of friends, and then I remember going to getting off at Majestic, and then from Majestic the next day taking a bus from Shantinagar to Ooty. And I met a bunch of folks, and I did my first TFN. The first day was Codenard Viewpoint, and the second day was Upper Bhavani. Not for the faint of heart. I remember walking on both days. I think that's probably the most that I've walked.
But both
Oh,
beautiful rides, right?
Okay, imagine this 2012. I mean, I wish I could take someone back through my eyes to Coordinate viewpoint,
Man, yeah.
you get to, and I have this knack of looking at small village names. This is a place called Kasturba Gandhi Nagar or Kasturba Nagar, and after that it's just flat down past that Amma's tea estate,
Right.
and then you get to a place, and I was like, my mouth
Just
was just open.
jaw-dropping
And
views.
like, what is this place? It was beautiful.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
so beautiful.
And that got you hooked. Hooked
That
for
got me hooked for life, I guess.
Yeah.
The people that I made friends that year are still friends. Jaideep Singh, Suraj Ellen Swami, Sundar Sir. I rode next to a guy called Shankar. I didn't know him well then.
Shankar Jairam.
We look at photos now and say, "Hey, you're standing right next to me."
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's what
So, and you came back in 2013, or
I came
was it?
back in 2013.
Mhm.
Then I did 14, then I did 15, then I did 16, then I did 17, then I did 18, then I did 19, then
20 no one did.
20 didn't happen, 21 didn't happen, then I did 22, then I did 23, and well, hopefully in 2 weeks, give
Yeah.
birth to 24.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's almost like our destiny, and this is what we're supposed to do.
Amazing, amazing. But the year I remember most was 2014, where Munnar. I mean, in my book, it is simply the toughest year of TFN.
Oh yeah.
Of all editions that I have done from 2011, that has been the toughest because it had Kalhati, it had Munnar, it had
Valparai for the first time.
Valparai for the first time, and it was crazy. I mean, I remember it's stuff of nightmares. The Munnar ride, first half was so hot, and we were climbing some 50 kilometers.
It's a 40-kilometer climb, HC climb. That's the. Oh, by the way, those years we used to have two CSs on Kalahati. I think the quality of racing, or that just maybe it's a generational thing. We don't race as hard anymore as we used to then. Like two CSs,
Right.
and
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, TFN has never been about racing. It is a
Yeah.
tour, obviously, but we used to make that tough, tougher than it already is by having all these competitive segments and all this. But it is fun to kind of keep ourselves engaged. But that year, 2014, was the year that Milam and
Dawn were my roomies, and for me, TFN 2014 is also very, very special, especially that which is why I know the 40-kilometer climb all the way to Munnar city, and then another 12 to Chinnakanal, because and I think that is the true spirit of TFN, and that I've met such people. So Dawn said, "I won't let you give up," and you know me and climbing.
Right.
And he took every piece of weight off the bike. He said, "Give me your helmet." I was like, "Helmet? Like, just take everything off." And I think for the entire 40 kilometers, he had his hand on my back and he's like pedaling along. And I'm like, "I can't do this." Like, of course you can. One pedal stroke at a time, one pedal stroke at a time. And that memory and that every bend is imprinted in my head, right? And then Dawn and I have done so many fun things together
Right.
over the years, and Dawn and I knew each other even in 20, well, when I was prepping for TF in 2013. He used to ride Bhorghat. He's active on Bike Zone. He was friends with Karan Mehta at the TFN 2013, and we used to all ride together. But what cemented what I know is a lifelong relationship was TFN 2014,
Right.
and climbing up from to Munnar.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm feeling strong and and I'm riding up a hill and I'll see someone struggle and I'm like, come on, uh, I'd ride with you. Not because I can help that person in any way, but it's just if I could give back a tenth of a small portion of what the love and support that I've got from the amazing people,
Yeah.
I don't have.
I still have the. It's very clear because those are visceral experiences that never leave you, right?
Oh yes.
The I still remember DP was there, Vivek Radhakrishnan was there,
Yeah.
Hari and Vicky were there,
Yes.
and like we were riding together, DP, I think Vicky and all of us. That once we got there to the top of that climb, the kind of relief we felt, it was so amazing. I mean, I still have the picture where all of us were like tired and elated at the same time. It was like amazing experience.
It's so funny, that year's photo, I made it to a poster the first time. The next year's promotional stuff had, we remember Bison Valley and
Yeah.
going down that steep thing. And I was like, who the hell came up with this stuff? Because how the hell am I going to climb out of here? But the photos, amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Even getting to Valparai, right? And that was the first time I think cycling en masse discovered Valparai.
Yeah.
People,
It's simply the most beautiful climb, I think.
and now ridden across the world, I would say Valparai is perhaps the most beautiful.
yeah.
It's got it. You want to go hard, by all means. You want to just let your jaw hit the floor, by all means. You want to take it easy, by all means. You want to use it like training, go for it. It's meant for everybody, right? It's doesn't discriminate if you're big, small, can go fast.
And that new hotel at Atakati,
Thanks to the monkeys.
that the fish curry and sambar there is like amazing again. Yeah, those are the memories, man. It kind of changes you. Like so, out of all this, the 2014 is of course memorable. Out of all the editions, what are some of the memories that you that kind of keep coming back?
Actually, I have every year is it's hard to sort of say, hey, this was 13 was amazing. 13 was also amazing, but it was my first full.
First full. All this Danish gang was there, Christian, Superman, and all that.
That was also Neil's first year, I think.
First year, yeah. The Danish gang's first year, yeah.
Then 14 was obviously brilliant with Valparai, with so much to do. 15 was fun. We had Kurush and Sherwin and monkeys and for the first time we saw that fancy hotel, right? It was such an upgrade from 14,
right?
To finish on top of Dodobeta. So you have like, oh, you've done Kalahati, but the movie is not over. Now climb Dodobeta. But the accord that year was like, wow, this is something else. And then we realized, Kurush and I woke up the next day morning to a monkey sitting in our room eating Kurush's bars. And I was like, the first reaction was, Kurush, why are you up so early? I was like, oh shit, that's not Kurush, that's a monkey. 16 was, I think, in a lot of ways, a generational change in TFN. So
why do you say so?
Last day TTT, the hotels got even better. So hospitality got really brilliant. For roomies, I got Milav and Nikhil. I think Che rode 15. Che covered 16. So, but 16 was.
I mean, see, like you say, right? There is something or the other kept on improving, right? We tend to say, this year was brilliant. every single time, because there is something about it.
Oh yeah.
Be it the change in, hospitality becoming a slightly more better. It's already amazing, but it keeps getting, better. And also there is something to be talked about that, right? From in 2011, there is that, what is it, YMCH?
2012
YMCA.
YMCA Anand Giri. YWCA, I thought.
YWCA.
Yeah.
Yeah, YWCA. And the rooms wouldn't, like, they're so cold.
Which is so funny. It is in the middle of the city, but it gets probably colder than some of the extreme parts of the city.
Right.
It's just our memory level.
Yeah. Well, and hot water was we have to go get the hot water that is being boiled on a stove and all that. It's like from there.
2016 was Taj. I was like, whoa. Like, and I remember Coimbatore, we all queued up in that fancy lobby and we're all wearing cleats and we're queuing up to, check in. And I went, wow, this is really
You know, that's-
fancy. I felt.
Things kept getting fancier, but that's also means that it kind of has an effect on the costs.
Yeah.
People complain about that, but it is getting better.
Oh, yeah.
There is you got to pay for that, I would say.
This way or that.
Yeah.
And with several Ironmans done, or other triathlon events done, or other tours, or other cycling races done, I think the cost is comparable. It's just an image that people have built up, right? If you were to say, okay, do it yourself, I'm not saying you can't do it cheap. Of course, you could potentially, there are James, 2017, the guy literally bike packed his way in from Goa to Mysore and back after the tour.
Right.
So, well, you can bike pack, and bike packing has its own charm and art. But if you were to say, let's stay in a hotel, right? Just 8 days of staying in a hotel would equate to the cost, where I don't remember touching my wallet ever. And that was, again, one of those things that sort of have imprinted on me from the day the tour starts till the day the tour ends and I have to pay the cab guys. The first time I say, okay, where's my wallet? Because for 8 days you're taken care of. There's physios, there's food, there's so much fun happening that you don't have time for anything else, right?
It is a time capsule in itself. I would never know what day of the week it is on tour.
Yeah.
It's never like where I mean, and before we know, it's over. It's like last day is always kind of please, it's already
Bittersweet.
over.
Yeah.
It's always that feeling. But yeah, it's always like there is kind of stepping up of sorts in each year, and it kept, because I keep blogging on the tour, I find it difficult to find new words.
There are always new people.
Yeah, there are always new people, but how do you differentiate? How do you keep finding new words to describe how it keeps getting better, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's not just the routes that make tours different, right? It's the people.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like the volunteers. 2014, I think we were late coming up Kalahati, and that was, I think, just the second year Kalahati climb came back.
Yeah.
And I remember this so distinctly, right? I reached the top and I was like, I'm going to carry on. And there were a whole bunch of people who said, no, we're not going to carry on. And those years, somehow it used to be colder than it is this now. Maybe it's global.
For sure. Yeah.
Right. I remember Milam looking for something to protect the cold, and eventually he gets like a newspaper that he shoves in.
The age-old trick. Yeah.
Age-old trick. And volunteers taking off their jackets for KKR. Hey, KKR rode that year.
Yeah.
So KKR and VRAD were getting into a volunteer's motorbike jacket because it was nice and warm, and those guys have literally no fat to protect themselves. So yeah, just that realizing, it's a very simple thing, right? A volunteer takes off his motorbike jacket and says, "Here, you're cold, wear it."
Yeah.
And or the thought that they say, forget the bikes, you get to a hotel and get to a warm bath or recovery because you got to ride tomorrow. And remember those years we used to have those GPS devices from
Yeah.
Chennai, right? So your bikes need to be brought back to the hotel. The GPS devices would need to be charged, and the next day morning you wake up for breakfast and you go see where our bike is there. So you imagine a volunteer's life. They would have probably finished by 1 a.m. or 2 that year, and then they would have left by 3, or well, fortunately a different team, but would have left by 3 to start the
Yeah.
road marking.
Marking.
And no wonder those guys used to win the contest every year as to which is the best volunteer team, because you never see them, but you always see their marks on the road and
Yeah.
fun stuff to say and the right things to say. One of Hemmings's favorite climbs on the day to you get into Wayanad, and there is one sharp turn ahead, and it's literally like a 90-degree turn, and then it starts ha 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 ha. It's 300 meters of double digit. So 1 minute you're coasting down like really really fast, and then you slamming your gears in, and the number of people that I've seen just sort of completed falls there is not funny. So yeah, it's just
Amazing, amazing. The people, right? As I was saying, the people make it special. The volunteers and the riders,
always
each year.
each year.
Yeah, yeah. Right, TFN. Yeah, we talked enough about TFN.
I think we can go on and on
Yeah, there is no end to it, right? We have done it so many times. We have so many memories from it, and it's like it's so dear to our hearts that we can keep on going over it. But let us talk about something else. You have done like crazy things, like Ironman 70.3s.
Yeah, why suck at one sport when you can suck at 3?
Yeah. Exactly. So what got you into this triathlon and all stuff?
Just new stuff.
Yeah.
It's fun. First triathlon that I did was some small event in Bombay. Manoranjan Nayak and I just went up there, and the swim was in a pool, and it was everybody had these big commuter beaters, and both of us show up on our road bikes, and everybody looking at us. I think that was one of the only triathlon events that I was far ahead. And then right after TFN 2014, Dawn found out about the enduro sports guys and said, "Hey, their second event is happening, Goa."
Yeah.
So Dawn and I did. Dawn, Prachi, and I, all of us did TFN. Goa Tri 2015, and it almost became synonymous, right? And when you used to coach me, you often used to say you just use events as training blocks.
Yeah.
So TFN would be my training block. Then I'd go do the Bombay half, and then I'd do Goa Tri, and that's it. And then you can go, see the fitness taper down till the rains end in Bombay, and then you start again.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's when triathlons really I got into. Like I started enjoying triathlons and said, "Hey, this is fun." Prachi's always been a swimmer, so and the open water and the sea is something that both of us enjoy. So triathlons happened, and that's yet another event that we show up for. So
What's the most memorable triathlon event that you have done?
Same problem, right? Every event has like so many memories to it, but 3 really come to mind right now. The first one was the 2015 tri-event. We met a whole bunch of people from Bangalore who had just met at TFN. So I remember Virad was saying, "Hey, my bike's very expensive. I'm not gonna hang it up here." And it was really, really, really hot, and
In Goa.
in Goa, and we were not
The
used
enduro
to
event.
enduro event, and I think they were still sort of figuring out their logistics, and there's a shortage of water, but those guys are really, really cool about it. And I remember running around asking people, "Hey, have you seen a lobster on the road?" Because I know Prachi gets really, really red running. So yeah, that was
Lobster.
yeah, that was a fun event, and Dawn doesn't do very well in the heat either. So there's like I had a cold bottle of water and Dawn's running on the opposite side. So I'm like, "Hey, Dawn, I think you need the water more than I do." Fun because that was really the first organized, properly organized triathlon, and it opened doors to understanding that it's not just a discipline of switching between the three disciplines, but also transition, how to figure out that every minute counts. It's just just a whole new different sport. Hey, this is not
It's not
running.
three
It's
sports
not-
to
yeah.
put together. It is a different sport completely. Yeah.
Planning down, and then each year sort of. So by the time I got to doing a full Ironman, no, don't say that. By the time I got to do my first Ironman 70.3, right, there was like enough exposure to Challenger series and having seen friends doing all kinds. So Norseman, for example, is on my bucket list. We'll see someday.
What is Norseman?
So Norseman is also a triathlon, not an Ironman brand. Happens off the fjords of Norway, and another guy from the Mumbai Sea Swimmers community and a dear friend, Sunny Ferns, religiously applies for the lottery every year, and we all hope and pray that he doesn't get through because then we are his support crew. So yeah,
What are the distances and stuff? Is the Ironman kind of distances?
it's more than the Ironman, and you'd launched off a boat. So you swim to the shore, then you scale the fjords, and so yeah, it's
I think I saw a documentary on Norseman.
its failure rate is very high. You need a support crew is mandatory for you. So yeah,
Amazing. Yeah, we were talking about what you said.
the 2015 one. The 2019 Ironman comes to memory largely because I think I have to thank Tarun Kumar for helping me finish it. He got stung by jellyfish and he was like out of the competition.
This is Goa.
This is Goa. And I can't run, especially after everything else. And when you don't train well enough, so I'm like, I'm done. And he's like, no, I'll give you company. So, and then I think Dr. Rahul Kalia had an upset stomach. So first he paced him, then he comes back on course and he says, now I'm going to pace you. And I'm like, seriously, you want to walk half a marathon with me? And he's like, come, walk, die, crawl, we'll cross the line, come. And then, of course, he didn't finish himself, but just sort of being made me finish. Between Barcelona and this year's Goa Ironman, right? And it's a toss-up. Barcelona because for the first time, I was nervous. I'm never nervous.
Right.
I was nervous about that. And
Why?
Because I think I trained a bit, and Prachi was at the finish line. I mean, she's always there at the finish line, and I have to thank her for enabling all of this. Right, over the years, you meet cyclists and sports guys.
She's the one to blame.
She's the one to blame. She's my main enabler. Right. We have a rule: never say no. So we don't say no. Like very rarely would she put her foot down and say, maybe you need to rest, or maybe this is not a wise idea. But otherwise, right? It's never, and so and your partner's nervousness sort of catches on.
Right.
So I think she was nervous too, and then she goes like, but what's the difference? You've done enough triathlons, you've done Ironmans before. Um, and I think DP, my coach then, was really, really nervous as well. This boy won't finish. It was but it's a very beautiful course. And I struggled, of course, in the run, as I always do. But the fun was that after everything got over, right? Our hotel was like less than 2 kilometers away, and it took me 2 hours to just walk from the finish line to the. But yeah, it was a very beautiful course, and I know I've recommended it to a whole bunch of enthusiasts who've asked, "Hey, what's a good place to go?" Barcelona. It's also one of my favorite cities. But this year's Goa Tri stands out differently.
Why? You haven't
I didn't
taken part.
participate. I didn't participate.
Right.
I volunteered.
Yeah.
And I volunteered, and I was, thanks to Crankmeister, I was part of the mech support team. I had access to the course. And when they were clearing the transition area, I had, like Barcelona, this pre-race pit of your stomach thing, and I don't get it.
Yeah.
Because I rarely train, and I'm like, oh God, I hope all these 1,000 odd people have trained. And because I was doing the bike check the day before, you meet everybody. There's so many friends, everybody's bikes, everything is there. And I was messaging Prachina saying, I'm getting like exam fever, and I don't. You're not even racing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it was so good to give back. There's a guy who broke his derailleur, and we sped like crazy back.
I was there.
And I was like, this guy won't finish it. And then I was the only one who had the Ironman app in the mech support team on the phone. So everybody's asking me for updates. And like, no. He's got up. He's doing well. He's got to the, he's made it to the cutoff. He's now running. Wow, he's running fast. And when he finished the cross the line, the entire mech support team was there, like cheering for him, like his personal cheer squad. Yeah. So many stories of people, and sport is about grit, especially endurance sport. It's just about grit, right? It's felt so good to be able to give back to a bunch of people and a community that's given me so much.
Yeah.
That I think that I would rate this as the best Ironman Goa event ever for me, and I probably would just go back and find a way to give back every year,
Right.
some way or the other.
Yeah. To kind of just give more context to what you were just talking about, right? So I was there as well to kind of cheer and support and record a bunch of podcasts with Adil and others, right? And then I was I just did a morning ride. I just got to that viewpoint where we were always like that top of the
horrible climb. Gently, I see you guys on the opposite side, and for the first time I was so happy I was not on the that's the only time you'd see, hey, this guy is a cyclist. Why? Because he's standing up on his tri bike.
Yeah. So we got there. I saw you guys were like helping this guy from Bangalore who snapped his derailleur, and I was like running around trying to arrange for a new derailleur hanger or derailleur itself. I think it got banged
derailleur and chain and everything.
Yeah, everything. And I was like, and he was nervous. A credit to him, he was calm. It was like he was nervous as to like if we would be able to make the bike cutoff, but he was like, he was as calm as one could be in that situation, right? And I was like, then Baba was there. He, you went and got the stuff from, I don't know from where you.
No, we went back to where all the supplies were at the start, and in that mix-up, we were so nervous ourselves. I ended up taking Nikhil's scooter and riding back, and I was like, "Wow, this rides faster than Rushid's scooter." That's when I realized, oh, I've mixed my scooters.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So and Baba, you got it installed, and it's like kept checking with is he going to make
it.
it and all that. It's like, and when we got to learn that he finished the race
Yeah.
at the end of it, and the guy was so I know more about the guy than this, because he was supposed to do Copenhagen 70.3 a couple of months before this, before Goa, and 2 weeks or like the week of flying,
Mhm.
he got dengue
I
and had to cancel. And then because he was telling me this, I got lucky there, and now this, and he was almost in tears, like, and to know that the team Crankmeister was able to get him across the finish line was amazing to know.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you, like you were saying, giving back to the community in
Yes.
whatever capacity.
So
right?
much.
Yeah.
I got goosebumps standing at that finish line where just before the runners start to go, and I'm like, push, 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 calling out people's names and saying, come on, you can do this. And I was like, wow, man, this is fun.
Yeah, amazing. I was there in 2022, and I was there this year, 2024, to just soak in the atmosphere. Amazing, energy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Seeing all, people from all walks of life, all capabilities, leaving everything out there in that heat and humidity. Oh my God.
2022 was also fun.
2022 was
I
even
did
hotter.
270.3s in 40 days. Like, look at me. Right? Didn't and Prachi podiumed in her her relay team that year.
Nice.
And she's coming off an injury. Well, I caused the injury, but that's we not talk about. Right? So she's still not confident enough. And only when we finished the whole thing, she said, you realize that you just finished Barcelona less than a month and a few weeks ago. And I was like, I didn't even realize you were there, and DP was running alongside, and you were there, and I think Shankar was there, and you're surrounded by so many friends, and Nikhil was there, and Rushit and Hemmings, who like now joke that if I sign up for hot events, then they have to do each leg with me. So yeah.
Amazing memories, right? So what gets you, to sign up for these crazy stuff?
There are always friends around. There's
Yeah.
always you're having fun.
Yeah.
So I think my motto in life now is, if you're having fun, do it.
Yeah.
And if it does not give you joy, don't do it.
Hmm.
I mean, I was not enjoying this morning's ride, for example. Half, and you turned at half, maybe quarter. I turned at half, and I was like, okay, done.
Yeah.
I probably drove more to get to the start point today than actually drive.
Yeah.
But if you don't enjoy it, you don't want to do it.
Right. Yeah.
And well, if you enjoy it, then go all out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there, one thing that always amazes me about you is, when I asked you for doing this podcast, you asked, "Are you sure you want to do it?"
Of course. I'm still confused, by the way, and I should say that. Are you sure you still want to publish this? Look, people, and I see comments, right? There are people who are going to listen to this while training. I think that's the biggest audience, right? These are guys who want NJ level power. They want to listen and be inspired. They want to look at achievers and success stories. I am neither.
No, I mean, I'll tell you why, right? Because it is not just about pursuit of excellence in everything you do, right? There will be some things that you just want to do it and have fun, and there will be some things that you pursue excellence. That for you that could be work, right? You want to give your 100% and excel at work and all that, right? But when it comes to sports, you want to have fun, you want to just finish the events, but have spend time with friends, like
Make core memories.
make core memories. And I understand that, and I identify with that, right? And there is a case to be made for um, being okay with being average at some things, right? You don't have to pursue excellence at everything that you do. And if you are after excellence in all the things that you are doing, you will end up burning out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is and not just burning out, it can be something that can paralyze you into acting as well, right? I mean, I won't be on the podium, so I won't show up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
We know a bunch of people.
Right. So that should not be. You show up. You never know what you are capable of. Just show up, have fun, and it's not just about being on the podium and doing a bunch of things. There are. See, if everyone thinks that way, if I want, if I am not going to be on podium, I won't show up. How many people will be on the start lines of
3.
these of these events?
Yeah.
Right. I think that thinking, pursue. I mean, plan,
Don't
train.
be me.
Yeah, I mean, plan, train, do all these things as long as you enjoy. But there is also a, a place in to just show up, have fun, and not get paralyzed by performance and anxiety, right? So that's it. Is like whenever I see you, I know for a fact that you are damn busy at work. You are always on calls, even when riding and stuff, right? And but you don't let that deter you.
Oh yeah.
And that is something that I take inspiration from, right? And it's not just like I don't want to. You would be landing from somewhere like 3 a.m. and showing up at the ride maybe 6 a.m. at Hebal.
I wish it was 6 a.m. I'm always
Right.
10 minutes late and hence people from the
Yeah,
group.
that is there. You are always late, but you are there, right?
Yeah.
That is, and in all this craziness, I know you pursued what leadership program from IAMB, something like that.
ISB.
ISB. Like like so many things happening, and you are doing Ironmans, you're doing, and you're so busy at work, and you have this executive leadership program at ISP. How are you doing this, dude? Is like my question, right? And that is what I'm saying. It is not just about podium winners and stuff. It is a working athlete podcast. I am curious, what drives you to kind of show up and keep doing it, right? So that is the reason why I asked you to be on this podcast. And like I said, it's not just about podiums, being excelling and all that, right? And I know for a fact that you excel at work and all those other things, but sport
I hope
for
my
you.
boss gets to hear this.
Share it with him. Ask him to subscribe.
He's a runner as well.
Yeah.
But I think it boils down to the same funda.
Hmm.
You have fun at work.
Yeah.
When you have fun at work, you build happy teams.
Hmm.
When you build happy teams, they're happy to support each other in whatever passions and endeavors
Right.
people have. And people have there are so many things to do. And so many. Sorry, I'm gonna switch to Urdu.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And I'll keep it brief because I know a lot of people
Yeah.
don't. So I'm going to take just this last line.
Mhm.
So है जज्बा जुनून तो हिम्मत ना हार, जुस्तजू जो करे वो छुए आसमान, right? And um
Translate.
okay, uh, sorry. So if you have the passion, persevere. For the one who perseveres, gets glory, touches the sky with glory. And if you bring your passion and wear your passion on your sleeve, it'll show. And if you say, I'm going to do stuff that makes me happy, being good at work makes me happy, being, and that happiness translates to saying, if I don't like doing something, I won't do it. That's how I ended up changing jobs. I ended up changing cities. Well, that's TFN and you and Hemmings to blame, but anyways, let's not go there.
Yeah.
So yeah, do stuff that makes you happy, and then you will find that there are when you're happy, you're giving your best at whatever, right? At work, at being a better partner, at being at surrounding yourself with wonderful people, and then people see that and want to support it, right? Whether it's my colleagues at work, and I've had now over 12 years, over several jobs. The final question that somebody generally tends to, do you have any questions for us? I take a week off in December. Let me know if that's a challenge. Right? Or just, you know, it's contagious, right? The fact that I have a partner who like just almost never says no, and is always there for me to say, hey, I got work, or I've got things covered at home. You want to go do an event, do it. It makes you happy.
Shout out
So
to
be it.
Prachi. He is amazing.
Yes, she is. And yeah, so that's that. That's how you end up, doing everything. These days I'm cooking as well because that's just domestic chores
Yeah.
keep coming and going. Make time. Yes.
Nice. Yeah, man. That's that's why you're here, and it's been super fun. What's the we are in a couple of weeks we are going to be on TFN,
Oh yes.
and you were 11th, and
Your
my 12th, yes, and I'm really looking forward to kind of conclude this session. What are some of the tips that you would like to give working athletes to be as happy as you?
Uh, I'm not someone to preach or like I said, right? Like the other guests at the podcast who probably have the skills or the knowledge to give out. I can only share what I've sort of imbibed in 44 years of existence here. Have fun.
Yeah.
You don't. Life can be very uncertain. Have fun. Have fun every day. And if you've not had one fun someday, there's always the next day.
Yeah.
And do stuff that makes you happy, and never give up. There'll always be. We were cracking jokes about it. Somebody had Shaim had a flat tire this morning, right? So there's always plan B or C or D or E, and which is how I end up. I start with the train at 6:30 and then 6:30 and then the 6:40 train and then the 7 o'clock people and then. So yeah, there's always 26 characters in the alphabet, so there'll always be another plan.
Amazing. Thank you, dude. You do you always, and keep spreading joy for everyone around you. We love you, man. Thank you for doing
Thank you,
this.
Bibi.
That was my conversation with Anand. I hope you enjoyed that. If you are enjoying these podcasts and are finding them useful, please consider supporting the podcast by subscribing to it on YouTube as well as on your favorite podcasting app. It really helps. Thanks again for your continuous support. See you next week with another guest.